All right, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. Wow, it's a little dark, huh? Let me uh let me brighten that up. Let's brighten that up. Look, I can do it from my phone. We're going to do it from the phone here. It's so dark. Actually, do I turn up my lights or do it on the phone? That's the $1,000,000 question. Today we're going to work on the business some more. I could do this off stream if I wanted to, but I think it's important for the record. It's a little better. Give it a little color. Something's weird with my camera and OBS and how they're interacting. If anyone knows what's going on, I'm all ears, because look at this. Oh, whoops, wrong thing. Let me show you. There's a little jitter, and I don't know what it's from, but look at this. See that? For some reason, it almost looks like there's some deinterlacing or something, or maybe that's just the maybe it's, just pixels or something, but there's like a full-on jitter, right? Look at my headphones. Now, when it's really small, you can't really notice, but I 1000% and I'm noticing, and I can even tell right here. It just kind of feels off. You know what I mean? Just feels off. And I don't know if it's always been this way. Maybe I need to go back and look at some streams. I feel like it hasn't, but I don't know. I really don't. So anyways, that is the conundrum. So today, this is what we're going to do. A couple things. Going to work on the business plan, get some more stuff sorted out. Got more ideas that I want to add and refine. My cousin sent me an email with tons of feedback, so I'm going to look at that, go over that, and make some changes accordingly. And what was the other thing? Yeah, we'll see where this takes us. We'll see where this stream goes, if chat shows up and has ideas, and we'll just go with the flow for like an hour and a half, 2 hours today. So that's the vibe. I so wish that YouTube would let you stream whatever music you want. I have to do all this non-copyright stuff. Like, this is Pokemon Snap right now. I wish I could do the other things. Okay. So let's get into it. Not that I don't mind Pokemon Snap, but it's not my ideal. It's definitely not the ideal. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I have been working on, let's see if I can zoom this in here. I think that's good enough. People can see that. I've been working on building a digital media company that focuses on video games and gaming culture. So loose, to put it very loosely, kind of like the bar stool of the video game world. We won't be exactly the same. There will be a lot different, but there's a lot of philosophy, I'll say, behind the Barstool brand that I think is really good. Now, our brand and our content will look very different because I am not Dave Portnoy and I'm not the same type of person. Different David here. But the principles, I think, that built a strong company, I think we will definitely take and use because they work and they're good. One of those being find talent and then get out of the way. Throw gasoline on what they're on their fire. Just get out of the way. Let them do their thing. Don't mess with it. Don't try and stifle it. And yeah. So before we get too deep into rambling, my cousin, who's probably watching this, I've been talking with a lot of different people, have a group now of a few people who I've talked to who, want to help with this thing and want to be a part of it. And I've been kind of surprised by the response. So one of the people, obviously the very first person I went to with this idea, like literally a couple months ago when it first kind of came in my mind, was my brother. So I talked with him, kind of pitched the loose idea, and he's always from day one been very supportive, and so he was like, yeah, I'm down to help where I can. And so I've been including him in everything. The next person I went to is a friend who lives locally where I'm at. So my brother lives in Washington. What's up, Red? My brother lives in Washington, and I live in California, and so he can help like remotely, but it is kind of harder when you're doing remote. So then I went to a local friend who streams. Some of you watching might know him. His name is Padlock Gaming. I don't know what his official Padlock TV. I don't know. Anyways, I talked with him about it. And it's like, dude, I'm thinking about like doing this and going for it. And he has been instrumental in just being encouraging and has belief more than anyone that I know. And he was like, I think you should do this. I think this is a good idea. I think your channel kind of fell off. It's sad. I know, but you're here. So that's cool. I hope you succeed in your life. Yeah, look, Red, I'll be honest with you. I already see my life as a success. Like, if I die tomorrow, I will not think, man, I didn't have a successful life. That's the furthest thing from my mind, actually. Success to me is not having 1 million people in my chat. Success to me is not, getting hundreds of millions of views. When I was getting millions of views, that was really cool. When I was getting thousands of comments, that was really cool. But, I mean, at the end of the day, success for me is, one, my wife is happy and my marriage is good, which that's a challenge. So that's actually a real, that actually means something. Success for me is having good relationships in my life and family and friends. Success for me is living by my convictions, being who I am, and not becoming someone else and just being tossed around by the wind, but being a man of integrity that people can lean on and trust. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Have a great weekend. Okay. Back to, so all that to say, I hope you succeed in your life. Like, dude, I've already succeeded. All this gaming stuff and, all this is like fun side hustle projects trying to build something great. Obviously, I want the project to be a success, but like, this is not my life, right? This business, like, this has no bearing on my identity as a person. If word came down tomorrow that what I was doing was completely illegal and I'm not allowed to do it anymore, I'd be like, okay, whatever. It's literally just a fun thing that I'm doing and throwing everything I can at to make it happen. So anyways, you must be like, I'm guessing in like 8th grade, probably, with just by the chat, based off the chat log. All right, let's get into the feedback. One of the best parts of this whole process has been the feedback I've gotten from people. I've had a lot of different conversations, from talking with high up business execs to friends, and gotten a lot of good feedback on all different ends. And so my cousin, I didn't even know he was going to do this, but he sent me an email and just gave me some feedback. And of course, I take everything with a grain of salt. And, you know, I do have the vision is getting clear, I'll say. I have a clear vision, but it's even getting clearer as I'm doing this, which is great. But all that to say is I'm open to any and all feedback. And I think I've seen, as I take feedback on board and consider it and either change or don't change, if I don't like the feedback, then I get more clear and refined in my vision. So it's a win. If I do like the feedback, then I get more clear and refined in my vision, and it's a win. Does that make sense? So, like, all feedback is honestly great at this point. It's just if feedback ever becomes redundant, it's like, yeah, I've heard that before. I already know why I'm not doing that. I already know why I'm doing that. But right now, everything's so fresh, and this business is so vast. There's just so many facets that all kinds of feedback is helpful. So he wrote up this thing, which is like long. It's long. It's what, 5 pages, which I'm like, dude, that's very generous to take the time to do that. I think he has a little extra time right now, but I'm going to read through it and make notes on it and make improvements to the business plan here and see how we go. So let's, how can I make notes? There we go. Okay. So this is what he writes. I decided to respond in a Google Doc, so if you had follow-up questions, you could ask them on the side and then could respond, and or if you hate everything I say, then you can ignore it and completely. It's no big deal. Well, David, you are very, very smart, and you have actually been in this industry, so I'm definitely not going to just ignore everything you say. I'm going to preface all this with the following. What I'm saying is advice on how to get from day 1 to the 5-year mark where all the dreams come true. You've mentioned 5 years several times in your videos, so that's where it comes from. Have I mentioned that? I honestly don't remember mentioning this, but I mean, if in 5 years it happens, that's great. You know, I would love to see. Well, it depends. It depends on what we're talking here. How do I make a note? Oh, it's right here. I would love to get started by in 3 years. That's just my. Now, if the 5-year mark is the dream, then that's cool. How do I pull? How do I pull up the? How do I show the side panel? Oh, there we go. There we go. In 5 years, if we were like in the dream scenario, that'd be insane. That'd be cool though. Okay. That's where it comes. Employees and roles. To start, you're going to need a lot of freelance people. Yep. Specifically writers. For copy or for blog. I think the social media manager would do copy and blog, no, or the copy on like posts and stuff, right? For them, you're going to want to pay a flat fee per article. Let's assume each article is 500 words. There are deadlines. Failure to hit them results in a diminished fee. Assume $100 to $200 per article based on views and how many rewrites a piece needs. This allows you to budget X amount of articles per week or month based on the release schedule you and your team agree upon, right? So there can be some consistency. I like this. $100 to $200 per article based on this allows budget X amount of articles per week or month. I feel like, okay, so here's my vision with the writing, and here's my vision with the blogs. The website for the win will be a website that has blogs on it, but the blogs are not boring. They're not Associated Press titles and headlines. It's not boring IGN, just information content, okay? Not even like super news heavy. I almost envision the blogs being basically like op-eds. And I want to get writers who, one, are good writers who can write entertaining, funny, engaging content, but two, almost like always have a hot take or just something, a unique angle, can find the unique angle in the story, right? So I don't want writers who are just going to pump out like, you know, for example, the Star Wars Battlefront issue, okay? Star Wars Battlefront Classic Edition, whatever, just dropped the other day, 2 days ago. No free advertising. And it was a bomb. There's a lot of things wrong with it, a lot of problems, all kinds of things, right? I don't want a blogger who's just going to come in and say, another remake flops again, blah, 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 blah. Bro, Charisma, thank you so much, man. We're sticking with it. I actually have a team now, so there's some accountability, and I can't really bail. But Charisma, seriously, if you have any ideas or thoughts or anything, just tell me, because this is literally early days. And I'd love any feedback, especially from gamers, on what kind of content / website / anything I'm talking about, what you would want, right? What kind of content you want to consume. So that being said, I don't want someone who's just going to write a boring informational article about next gen remake flops again, Star Wars, blah, 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 fails to impress fans. And then the article is like, for years they've been cashing in on remakes, and some are good, some are not good, and this one's a flop. You know what I mean? Oh, hold on. My wife's home. I'm streaming. What's that? They're putting in vending machines?
No, but I guess they already have some. Or maybe not. Maybe they do.
Oh.
I don't know.
I didn't even know there's vending machines down there.
Where'd you do it?
Oh, they're going to get Apple Pay too?
Dangerous.
This just in. This just in. Hot off the press. Just got new vending machines in our apartment complex. Crazy. Necessary pause. I think community reach, campus branches, city branches, social media warriors is something important and boards have done well. Yeah. So you mean, can you expand on that a little bit? Kind of what you mean by, I think I know what you mean as far as they have a Barstool Nashville. They have a Barstool, well, they don't have a Barstool LA, but like not headquarters, but like, just they've done the college thing, right? So they have like major cities, Barstool accounts, and so whenever there's something that happens in that city, here's the thing though, and what do you think about this? Because Barstool in the video game industry, I feel like there's not a lot of city representation like in college sports and sports in general. You know what I mean? Like in college sports and all sports, it's like city of Seattle. They have their teams, they have their college teams, and so there's all this news out of Seattle. Same for, whatever, Texas, New York. There's all this news that comes out of this location because of the sports teams that are there. How would that work in video games? Because in video games, you don't have that same type of vibe where there's cities and all kinds of gaming news coming out of specific cities, no? Am I wrong on that? Like, I feel like it would the model would be cool to do like a, and I would love to do like a For the Win LA, right? For the Win New York, For the Win Chicago, For the Win whatever. But I don't know. It would almost, what I think as I'm just thinking out loud? I feel like it would almost be better to do, I know this is weird, like countries. Because gaming content, it comes out of a country. Now, there's a lot that comes out of the USA, right? But there's a huge scene in Japan. No? There's a huge scene like in Australia. A lot of gamers, streamers from Australia. Or maybe you break it down by genres of games. But you're right, that community aspect. I don't know. I like that idea though. There has to be some type of very local connection where people can be like, yeah, this is where I'm from and this relates to me. I think you're nailing it. They are different animals, but I think it's the same thought line. But finding categorization method is the equivalent of the college city thing. Yes, exactly. Because it could be like, I mean, you could think of better names, but it could be like For the Win Shooters, For the Win Sports, For the Win RPG, For the Win, like there's different categories of games that could potentially, but again, I feel like yeah, that captures that community of people, but it's not the city. So it's not as, yeah. Having the varying levels of contributors from figureheads to the gamers themselves, and they feel connected from the bottom. 100%. That is 100% part of it. I don't know if you saw last week's stream where I kind of talked through some of the brain dump and where everything's at. That'll be good. All right. So back to my blog point. The point is, I want to have a crew of writers and bloggers who aren't just giving informational content, but they're almost like the voice of the people. And the voice of the people is people who, disagree with things, agree with things, and have, different opinions on things. And so writers who can write really funny, entertaining, interesting articles, find the interesting angle in a story. And so if I was writing an article about the failed Battlefront classic remake that just dropped 2 days ago, I would write a blog about how Aspire and these massive companies have been gouging us for years, and they deserve a lightsaber to the groin, okay, for the way they take advantage of gamers and nostalgia. I think that's more interesting and stupid and funny to read than, just boring AP title article. So that's my thoughts on blogging. The blogs have to be interesting. I appreciate the feedback, Charisma. If you have any other ideas or thoughts, I'm going to be here for the next hour. Okay. I like this idea of this model. It would either be this or a flat fee, or ideally I'd like to do a part-time salary and just say, hey, you need to hit this quota of blog numbers. This allows you to budget X amount of articles per week or month based on like this. You have a producer listed but not a managing content editor. I'm assuming the producer is handling the video side of things. Yes. Behind the scenes, helping develop content. Sorry. Video content and podcasts. You'll want a managing content editor to manage the writers and keep for the brand on voice. That's a good point. So I'm going to go to the business. We're going to go down here. These are the very, 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 very loose numbers that I've put together. Again, some of them are way off, not even close to what they should be. But we're just doing a very rough outline to start. Managing content editor. I'm going to add that. Managing content editor. And this person will be giving... I've actually had this role in my head, but I didn't know what it was called. So this is really good. This is going to be low, and I know, but I'm just going to... I don't know. I'm going to sort out the salaries and stuff later. This is just like dream... or like just trying to get some type of rough baseline. I've had this role in my head because I've always thought, okay, who's the person that's not me that will sign off on the blogs, and approve them? Like, I don't want to have to necessarily read every single thing especially when it gets growing, but I need someone who's going to be able to take all the blog submissions, approve, post it, so that there's that peace of mind. Like you said, the brand voice, everything is there and ready to go. So managing content editor, that's great. That was a missing piece for sure. You'll want to manage content editor, keep for the week. Consistency is key. Absolutely. That doesn't mean squashing individual personalities, but keep things cohesive. Yep. Also can help manage deadlines. Yeah, that's huge. You have an accountant listed. You'll want to make that the CFO. Okay. Yup. Better title, and they'll be a part of all the planning and investment meetings. This person needs to be able to tell you no, and you respect it. I'm assuming since you're this is your thing, you're the president. Correctamundo. Mundo. Presidential. The CFO is going to have to do financial forecasts and set realistic budgets. I love that. I don't want to have anything to do with that. They'll also have to handle all of payroll taxes, and taxes to start. Thank God. I don't want to do any of that. Yeah, so this is whoever provided this advice is a solid homie. Yeah, so this is my cousin. He has worked in the industry for a while. He's very smart. And yeah, he's been around and been in the business. And so he literally has watched everything and looked at all my stuff. And he sent me this 5-page document, which is crazy. As you begin your shows and podcasts, there will need to be a lead member of each show. Yep. That acts as the producer. You can get away with having everyone using a green screen setup to start off remotely to save early startup costs. Your video game content manager is also going to be your TD/production coordinator. Technical director, I think, is TD. They will wear many hats. They will handle the production calendar from start to finish, oversee podcast/show production, records, captures, content, topics, final edits, making sure your shows are sticking to the for the win way, whatever you determine that is. Again, not to stifle individuality, but to make sure there's quality, clarity in the content. They're going to work closely with the lead editor and social media manager to manage the content release calendar on the video side. So this will need to be a very highly organized person who can understand the content and also be organized and getting things out and know this whole process, which I have a good idea of this whole process because I've had my hands in a lot of different things. Banger. But we also, lot to that'll be a really key role. I'm just going to do all of this. Love it. Lover it. I hate saying this because I'm very much against it personally, but if you can find one person to handle website and graphics, you'll save yourself a lot of money and time early on. Whomever you find as the lead editor will also have to do graphics. Eventually, you should be able to separate all the roles. But again, day one, exactly. Website and graphics. Okay. You don't have social media manager. I don't know why I don't have social media manager on here. That was definitely... Okay, no, I do. for some reason, no, I do have it on here. I already have it on here. He must have missed it. I do have social media manager on there. He must have just missed it. You want one? Yep. It's going to be pivotal. And you do reposting liking 100%. Yeah, providing numbers, all that stuff. This is good. Sales, you can base their pay on commission. Give them a lower salary with incentives the more they sell. Start with a single sales manager title. Love. Commission. Then add more people into the sales department as necessary. Eventually, you'll need a pure business development person. They're going to start making deals, partnership with companies beyond simple ads. Then you'll know you're in the big time. Okay, business development. Yeah. Yeah, because I want to get deals with like freaking Microsoft, Sony, the real deal stuff. I'm not honestly sure why you have video. That's a great question. I want a videographer who, and they might be able to double. We'll see. But I really want someone to be shooting. Gotta buy a mistake dinner or something someday. This truly golden guidance, such a crucial stage of a dream/grand scale project. I'm new and out of touch, but I support this and will stay tuned. Charisma, you're the best, man. Yeah, for sure. That's why I'm getting all this on the record. I want a shooter, and maybe this is, early days. This isn't possible. But I think it'll be critical to have someone shooting all the behind the scenes, especially when we get a location. Like once we get a location and there's people in the office, I want someone in there. I want someone shooting. I want someone, and their job will be to shoot all week and then put out a, behind FTW behind the scenes, the story of FTW for the win. Literally everything that we're doing, people can see. Obviously, they're not going to be able to shoot every single thing, but as we're filming content and we're doing things, I want people to be able to see. And as we build out the space that is going to be the dream space for anyone who loves video games, it's just going to be the sickest spot ever with a freaking, retro room with every video game ever made, freaking podcast studio, stream rooms, arcade, just a sick spot for like any gamer will look at these videos, look at what we're doing and be like, oh my God, I want to go there. This is the sickest place ever. It'll be crucial to have footage that's going out and people seeing what we're doing. Everything is content, 100% charisma. So that's the idea, like for that shooter specifically, is almost their whole job is, thanks for the follow. Their whole job is just shooting the shenanigans, getting the shenanigans. And I know that's like whatever, and maybe they can double as something else. Maybe if everyone's just working at their computers for an hour, there's nothing interesting really there. But when we, start a Halo challenge and for every death, every time you die, you get shot with a paintball gun, behind the scenes footage is going to be great for that. And so just shooting and like any conversations, if I walk out of my office and something happens, blah, 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 like all that stuff needs to be captured. That tells the company story. That tells people who we are. It just shows so much. So that's the idea behind that. I'm assuming you'll be going to have all creators' talent be taking BDS footage as they do their thing. Yes. So creators and talent will be constantly capturing content too. But I want I want someone who's going to weave together the whole story, because you'll see and there'll be people who like individual creators and maybe don't follow everyone, but as far as the company story, that's like that shooter's world. So capture what happens during the week, put out one video a week. This is what happened this week. So whatever guests came through, whatever shenanigans happened, whatever content was filmed that week, all that stuff, any other things we had, like we went to a convention, whatever, just all those things. Side example, the Pat McAfee show has had Evan Fox film 95% of his work/life since the show started. Footage is invaluable. Yes. Yeah, I agree. Your very own Evan Foxy. Exactly. So my dream is that, like, 9 to 5, the moment we step into the office, cameras are on, people are seeing what's going on. Come home, there's no cameras in my house, none of that stuff. You know, I just live my life with my family and my wife. But when you step into the For the Win headquarters, the no spin zone, that's where it gets fun and the cameras are on, and we're, you know, I don't want to say reality show, but it's just a honest behind the scenes look of us trying to build this company and sell it for $1 million. Like, that's all it is. And because we're fun people, good personalities, love video games, I think that'll resonate. I'd say I would get interns to do it. Yes, 100%. And that's like a whole nother thing. If we can get a location in a legit business, I think we could get interns. You know, and be like, hey, we'll feed you. You'll get experience at a gaming company, and that's all we can offer. But, like, come along. And I think that's huge. If people are working remotely to start, what you have listed here is not bad. Again, I would put your writers on a per article pay system, and any talent you had would be freelance to start, unless they were going to take a more active role in the company. I love this song. Here's the thing. I kind of don't love the idea. No cams at home. More like on the way to the DFW meeting or to Orlando event, the BTS at the convention. Yeah, exactly. BTS stuff. Not like BTS like, this is me eating dinner with my wife. Like BTS of the company. It's all just the company. Here's the thing. Honestly, and this could change, I don't even really want to do this remote. And the reason is because there's so much more synergy and ability to build at a rapid rate, I believe, when you get everyone together in person. Like, it's so much faster, it's authentic, it's funnier. To give you an example, the last year we've been filming our podcast, and it drastically limits the possible employee. Were you going to say fandom? I think you want to say fandom. But I think, yeah, it limits the, like, storytelling ability. But for instance, we've been doing the podcast this last year remote. You know, Henry lives in Seattle. John lives in a totally different place in Washington. I live in California, and we do this podcast remote. We did one in person in December, And it was so much more fun and better. And it was easier, and there's a synergy that's just easy. So I really don't really want to do remote at all. And that's how I feel right now. That could change. But I think at the end of the day, the first, like, I really just want to get everyone together. And that's not to say some writers can't do remote, you know. I think for writers, there is a remote possibility, and I'm not like 100% closed off by any stretch. But content creators, I think we need to get together. I think that has to be, because, like, for instance, John could write a good blog, you know, from his house, and that doesn't require him to be in the office. No. So it'd be better if he was, because he could be a part of the day-to-day and when crazy stuff goes down. But I think bloggers could potentially be remote to start, and content creators in the building. Per pay. I've seen this at a couple places. Famously, there was a tech firm that did this. I can't remember their name. Pay all your full-time employees $70K a year, from president, CEO down to editor. Make everyone the same. You're going to lose money in your first 2 years regardless. Any profits made, you Mr. Beast it and put it right back in the company, investing in yourself. Down the road, after year 5, after the FTW, what do we call it? Playhouse? FTWHQ. Definitely not Playhouse. Example, local applicants only versus remote applicants included. I think that last caveat is actually perfect. Just the bloggers potentially out of state. Yeah, because I think if someone's a fire good writer, I think we'd be limiting ourselves if we're like, you can only, we just have such a bigger pool if we open that up. After you've secured your third straight year profitability, you throw them a profit sharing bonus check. This is a neat idea. This is a really neat idea. A lot of that would depend on, like, I guess, the initial investment. But I don't hate that. I mean, I would be okay with that. I mean, you better believe, like, you know, an editor would be okay with that. This puts everyone on an equal footing. Everyone is fighting for the same success, and you don't have people wondering if you're taking home all the investment money or profits. I do like that. Nothing funnier than when a CEO and his wife show up at the office in New Farms and company's app isn't close to launching and behind schedule. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I agree. Only for me, it would be a Cybertruck. That's what I would show up in. Yeah, I agree. I kind of like this. I'm going to toss this to the boys and see what they think about that. Thanks, Charisma. Have a good weekend, man. We'll chat soon. Thanks for coming by. So year 1, president. CFO, managing content editor. So these are the roles: freelance, creator, contributor. Year 5, CEO. Here's the thing. I almost feel like I would like to not be the CEO and find someone who can run the business. Like I don't want to run the business. Like, okay, let's just difference between CEO and president. So I don't know if you guys can see this. For those of you who don't know the difference, this is actually like pretty important. A CEO, Chief Executive Officer, is a top executive responsible for high-level decisions and setting company vision. The president oversees day-to-day operations, supervises managers, and ensures departments function properly, facilitating company's vision and culture. That's how I see my role. And not only how I see it, that's like what I'm good at. Like, I'm not the person who's going to like have mad strategies on how to, where's that picture? Mad strategies on how to grow outside the company and do all this extra stuff. I am inside the company. I want to work inside the company, not on the company or outside the company. I mean, I care about that, and I want that to be a thing. Decision maker, president equals boss. Yes, 100%. Who is this? I don't see a name. Anyways, yes, that's exactly it. And so, I mean, it would be fire if, like, first of all, CEO president relationship has to be rock solid, because I know that, like, if I get a CEO who just starts like, yeah, we're going to do everything different and it's not my vision, then obviously I'm going to hate that. And so Barstool, again, we keep coming back to it, but you know, Dave had a vision for what Barstool would be, and they found a CEO in Erica Nardini. I think that's her name. And she saw Dave's vision and said, okay, let me help and bring my CEO skills to the table. And they have a great working relationship where she supports his vision. He like helps make the company run with the talent and the culture and the vision, helps make it happen. And then she's out there, you know, working with the sales team, the merch team, the CFO, making sure finances are good, all this stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm open to being a part of the conversations, as always, of course, but I don't want to, like, that doesn't excite me. And, like, growing the business doesn't excite me. What excites me is the creative, the making the content, the putting together an amazing team of content creators, talent behind the camera, all that stuff. And so I'm 100% like president, and that's where, honestly, that's where I'd want to stay. It'd be super rad if, like, I don't know, my brother could become the CEO. I don't know if that would even be something he's interested in at all. But as I've delved into these roles, I feel like he's someone who gets the vision, but I think he's smart enough to be a CEO. I just don't know if he would be passionate to build the business out, you know? I don't know if he's more on the creative, wanting to be in the company versus, you know, working on outside and future. But I just know we have a good relationship, so I think that would be a really good working relationship, and we would be able to, like, work together on that. But again, I don't know how to be a CEO. He's never been a CEO. So in a perfect world, here's the perfect world. In a perfect world, we hire someone to be a CEO who gets the vision, who wants to help us build, get paid. And my brother shadows them for a couple years and works alongside them and just learns how to do it. And then we go from there. And he eventually takes over. But again, he might want to just show up and hang out on a camera. I don't really know. So, back to the outside opinion. So this is, I might want to stay the president. Some of this, like the VP, I feel like VP is a little stuffy. You know? Any way to get rid of the corporate stuffy language? Like, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know it could be like, oh, it's just semantics. Like, it's not a big deal. But also, I think the language creates the culture, right? And so, yeah, we can have CEO and president, and I think that stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. Videographer, editors as needed, interns, lead app manager. I haven't put a lot of thought into an app. I have mixed feelings. On apps. Okay, so this is still year one. Videographer, editors as needed. Yeah, year one. Mixed feelings on apps. But a simple app, a simple app where you can go read blogs, watch videos, I'm not opposed to. Barstool has an app. I just don't know how well it can do. I don't want to have an app just to have an app. I want to have an app that means something. People go to use. And maybe they utilize that instead of the website. I don't know. Definitely need to put more thought into the app. Sales team, graphics team, editing team, building manager, engineer. Yep. Studio engineer. Yep. Lead producer, video content. Yes, underlings. Freelance creator. See, I think I want them to be local. Why am I so bad at typing? What the heck? Local, remote, local, talent. We got to be local. Interns, obviously local. And yes, you're the president and eventual CEO. No time for modesty. This is your vision. See, here's the question, though. Like, can I have the title CEO but not have to deal with, like, have someone who's doing the business side that I know I'm not good at? Does that make sense? No time for modesty. This is your vision. And by the time you're CEO, you'll be referring from the day-to-day as you grow the company and look for more and more growth opportunities. Like, that's good. I don't mind that, and I understand this. It's not like I am of the mind where, as my role grows, I just want to stay in the trenches the whole time. I get that. But I guess I just don't want to get to a point where I'm like only doing CEO business boring stuff. Like I want to have someone who can handle that with me or for me, alongside me. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like I don't mind. I'm not trying to, I understand that this is like my vision and whatever. I just don't ever want to get away from being a part of the content. And I guess, again, back to the Barstool model, you see like Dave still is producing content all the time, doing what he wants to do. All right, that's enough Sonic. Let's find some Super Mario 64, huh? Does that make sense? Because I'm like, he's still doing his content, and yes, he's still involved in the high-level conversation, the getting sponsors and growth opportunities, and 100% I want that, and I understand that's part of the role. I guess I just don't want that to become everything, And I don't know. Like, you just have to see how that goes. But I also don't want to get into a place where I'm just doing the business side and none of the creative. I think that's my worry. It's like I want to be involved in the creative. I don't have to control all of it and whatever, but I always want to be a part. And you see, Dave, he pops into podcasts, he pops into content, he weighs in on what people are doing, and that's how that's what I see as well. If someone puts out a sick video from our crew, I wanna tweet about it, talk about it, la di da di da, and like be in their content. And so I don't know, I have no clue what that's gonna look like. I just don't want to. There's some people who just love growing the side of the business and don't want to be involved in creative, and I'm the inverse of that. I am like, I love being a part of the creative, and I need to find someone I can trust who's going to work alongside me to build the business. So, something for you to consider. Average rental cost per square feet in the following counties for warehouse office space, 10,000 square feet or higher. LA, $41.32 per square foot a month. So I'll let you guys do the math on that. Orange. Is this Orange County? Oh, yeah. County. Yeah, okay. San Bernardino. This is the goal. I do not want to go to LA. Never planned on it. Orange County all day. Orange County all day. And I'm glad to see that it's on the cheaper side. I mean, I knew of course it would be cheaper than LA, but that's a decent little chunk. $12 cheaper, $13 cheaper. So definitely Clark County. Well, hold on a second. Clark County, Google Maps. Let's go California. It's HQ? That would be crazy. There are multiple energies doing in and around Vegas. Save money on cost of living, lower tax, cheaper, incorporate more stars from sports, pop culture come through Vegas than ever come to Orange County. That's true. But I think a lot, like LA is a pretty hot spot, and if we're only less than an hour from LA, I don't think that's bad. I actually know a lot of influencers and like big content creators that have headquarters here, like in Orange County. Just because it's cheaper. Whatever you need it to be. Good pizza. True. In a perfect world, you do this in Orange County. Correct. 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 But it won't get you what you want, and people in LA don't want to come here. Really? Just like people in Orange County don't want to go to LA. If you're going to eventually look for investors that are not going to be doing the work, you're going to have to. Wait, what does that say? If you're going to eventually look for investors that are not going to be doing the work, you're going to have to incorporate. Cheaper to get an address in Clark County and incorporate there than anywhere in California. Elon left for a reason. True. And that's something I've really thought about. Case study, you look at 100 Thieves, and they're like amazing and incredible at so much what they do. And they literally built an energy drink brand from scratch. And it did well. It's doing well. It's not bombing. And it's a good product. I drink it. And yet they had to sell the company because they couldn't afford to keep running it in LA. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy that a brand with like that it could get to that point where you're profitable, but you're not profitable enough, and you just have to sell your company. And now the company, now Juvie is not owned by 100 Thieves, and it's owned by some drink company in the like somewhere in the East Coast or Midwest or something like that, where they're making money. It's wild. Yeah. Been thinking about that a lot, for sure. I feel like long term, the only way it works is we got to be big. Like we got like New York, they have an office, and that thing costs an arm and a leg to keep. Same with yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Who you should be studying if you aren't already. So far in all your videos, you've been looking at brands and orgs, specifically esports orgs as comparison. This is wrong. None of them want to be digital media company. They want it to be for sports teams. Well, okay. First of all, the biggest person I've been studying, group I've been studying, is Barstool, which is a digital media company. I've been doing tons and tons of off-stream reading, deep dives, looks into how their company runs behind the scenes, not just consuming their content, but interviews with their CEO, digging really deep into their story and how they do things, because they are a digital media company. Now, they're in a totally different field, but I will say, based on the last few videos, yeah, it's been a lot of orgs, but I understand that they are not what I'm trying to become. Mainly because so few are actually profitable. None of them want to be a digital media company. Correct. They want it to be professional sports teams. Right. Supreme Clothing Company. Correct. But we all know Blizzard killed esports in North America forever. And as good as 100 Thieves clothes felt, still not as good as Kirkland brand. Ouch. So G4, part of, I don't even know. I think the X is silent. Why did it fail? Yeah, G4. That's a good case study. I'm definitely going to look into that. They had everything you're talking about, and they still failed. Why? Tucker had the money to keep it going if he wanted to, but he didn't. What happened? That's good. I'm going to do that. I'm going to look into this. Yeah, G4 was a big name. I actually have footage, old G4 footage from tax back in 2006 or something that I took. Then they had the money, the production experience, access, decent runway, but they couldn't make it work. Why? What did they do or not do? The low-hanging fruit answer is the top execs weren't gamers, but it's not that. Figure out why they failed. Well, why don't you just tell me? If you know, just tell me. Don't give me this whole you got to go on the journey and figure out, like, just save me the time. Tell me what happened. Maybe you don't know. G4, Pat Uno, it was all there. They had it in their hands. Then they made a choice, and ultimately they chose reruns of Cops and Cops on Campus episodes instead of things about video games and nerd culture. What happened? Challenge TV/Ult. This one's easy. They didn't know what they wanted to be. They didn't give themselves long enough runway realistically to hit their goal. That they kept moving. No, but seriously, I could tell you everything we did right and wrong. Where it all went downhill. I think you even know the dates. Modeling FTW after Barstool isn't a bad idea. Again, Barstool is in the accompanying website content to professional. What is FTW? This is the $1 million question, I feel like. I have been thinking about this ever since he asked me last week. What will FTW be an accompaniment to? And I don't think it can be esports. It's too niche. No money there. The best I've come up with, and this is like, it's weird because, you know, sports and video games, it's very different. But FTW could be an accompaniment to the latest video game news. Accompaniment to new video games, accompaniment to current gaming culture. Maybe. I almost like that one the best. Current gaming culture. So what's current in gaming? What are people talking about? What's happening? That could, you know, that's umbrella. So that could, you know, old retro. People could be talking about some retro stuff. People could be talking about, you know, people are always talking about new games that have dropped. I don't know. It's a good question. If it's me, you should stop looking at Barstool and look at Pat McAfee and how he built his company. He literally is changing how linear digital content is produced and consumed. Someone in my chat already said that. One flagship show, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Him, Hall of Fame, former pro. You can find yourself sort of retired Halo player or something. 2, his toxic friends who are overly opinionated but passionate as hell. A guy who handles the quick news / gambling stats, and then a crew in the back to run the ship. He brings on people from all over sports, entertainment, who he likes and finds interesting. From that show, you get 15 hours of content a week. Chop it up, put it across all social and YouTube. Interesting. This requires a lot of work. This requires a lot of work. I feel like it requires so much pre-production. Maybe it's just me, though. What's up, Ibrahim? There's a second show focusing on sports gambling, headed up by one of the guys on his show. There used to be a third show that discussed other more important, but they scrapped that. You could easily have one of your boys do another show on whatever. They're respected controversial without really trying, genuine, relatable, and most importantly, themselves. They have a merch line for the brand. They don't even promote it anymore, but they've always got new pieces coming out. Pat himself is also working on premium shows, not his own. I don't expect you to co-host Monday Night Raw, but you do need to make sure you're getting yourself out there on other people's podcast streams and people know you. That's the company you want to emulate. When he's a legend, but he lost control when he made his money and ultimately got his company back. If you're going to need to be as big for Dave or Pat. Yeah, and this is something like in my own content, because I think there is a very real side of me that's like, I know I can step up and be more, not like entertaining, but just let myself. Oh, did I miss a call? Sorry. Who? Wait, this could be a potential important call. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's a scam. I do feel like there is a part of me that I can break out a little bit more and be a bit more of myself and not be afraid to put myself out there. But it's kind of been a process. I think there's like a little bit of fear. Don't want to accidentally say the wrong thing and get blown up on the internet. But I know sometimes that comes with the territory. And then people's opinions and, oh, you shouldn't have said that, or you can't say that. And not that I'll go off the rails, but I do agree. You have to be a personality. And so I think in a lot of ways I do have that. It's just when the camera's, I think right now it's more when the camera's off. But yes, this is 100% true. 100% true. And I don't need to be as, like, they're both big personalities, but Pat's like crazy. And Dave is like, he's himself as well. You know, it's just, it looks different for both of them. You know, Pat's like the guy who yells and screams and Monday Night Football and ESPN, whatever. And then Dave just like has his moments. But yes, this is 100% true. Stepping on soapbox. Hope if nothing else you find something in here that was probably wasn't a waste of time. You need anything else? Let me know. Post reread thoughts. Have you and whomever you're playing this thought about the video game Escape for next year? Microsoft killing the Xbox and just focusing on game store is big. Store is big. Steam, Microsoft, Epic. Where does that leave Sony, Nintendo? What version of the same Pokemon game will be out by then? Or will we all be playing Power 2 by then? As you build out your plan, you should also put out 5-year forecast what you think gaming world will look like to make sure your company can pivot as needed. Huge. I agree. We haven't officially done this, but we talk about this almost every week. It's very, very interesting. The landscape has changed so freaking much. It's ridiculous. All right, this was amazing, cousin. Thank you for this. Lots to chew on. Lots to think about. I think this 5-year plan, I think I'm going to close that. And yeah, lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Let's look at, there's one thing I wanted to see. Let's finish up by looking at this here. Let's go to YouTube. By the way, we got a new podcast today. What happened to G4? I'm sure there's a No. I want to watch. I don't want to watch Ludwig talk about it. This is what I want to watch. The Rise and Fall. I think this is what we want to watch here. Do a little bit of learning. It's crazy. They used to be on TV. First of all, my opinion on this is if the shows were good and the content, again, content is king. If the shows were good and the content was good, G4 would still be around. For whatever reason, people didn't want to watch. If it's good, people want to watch. Look at Ridiculousness, right? It's a good show. It's a fun show. People want to watch it. And guess what? It's all that plays on MTV around the clock now. I have footage of him from PAX. Wow. Ridge Racer. So all I'm getting from this is their content wasn't good. Hold on. I don't mind this set. Hey, it looks pretty cool. They got a Neo Geo cabinet, all this stuff. It's pretty neat. I'd love to have a set that we can. Okay, so they got some influencers. There it is. There it is, folks. Like, I didn't even follow G4. Don't say anymore. There it is. Their content's trash. Do you know why? Because that's trash. Because here's the reality, is even if it's 100% true, which we could talk about it, we could debate, we could go back and forth, people don't want to hear that crap. They want to be entertained. They want to have a laugh. Because this stuff's getting shoved in our face all day, every day, consuming any social media. So the last thing you want, and for the win will never be this, is to be some virtue signaling, virtuous thing that takes itself too seriously. Like, get out of here. There it is. You want to know why G4 failed? You want to know why it had a double downfall? You are looking at it right here. Whoever decided that this content is good, and oh yeah, people are going to be into this, and it's important that we do this, that's why. For the win will never be that. Never. It's going to be entertaining and funny. And it's going to be a great escape and fun content for people to consume, to get away from the 9 to 5, some of the grind of life, and it will bring smiles to people's face, and they're going to enjoy it. Oh God, what's she going to say? This was happening on the show? Yo. Oh. Was it worth it? Did you change anyone's mind? That's the thing with engaging with all this stuff. It's like, even if let's just say, and I don't think she is, but even if she's 110% correct in everything she's saying, you really think that's going to, like, one, does that help the show? Like, do you think people care? Do you think people want to watch? No. Like, that's crazy. And now look what happened. And they didn't. They didn't watch it. That's just so arrogant, man. That's great. Oh, could it just be that we just don't like you? Your just personality? There's so many female hosts that I'm like, oh yeah, they're super cool. Oh yeah, I like them. And it just doesn't have anything to do with that. You're just annoying. Let's just be real. Bro, people gotta stop just obsessing over themselves. Nobody cares, dude. That's crazy. So that rant is almost like the nail in the coffin. Like their content wasn't great to begin with, from what I'm seeing. But then having that, what do they say? Go woke, go broke. It just doesn't have any place. You know, just like who cares? We're play video games. Like know your audience. Yes, correct. Just get out of the culture war. There it is. There it is. Lessons learned. Lessons learned. Don't get involved in a culture war that you're not ready to get involved with. And yeah, crazy. Crazy. All right, guys. That's it. I'm going to bounce. Got some stuff to do, taxes, etc., etc. But next week we'll stream again. We'll build some more. Maybe we'll throw some Halo games in there, have a little fun. But until then, stay frosty.